Hi everyone. Today I decided to do a video on 10 things that the narcissist hates about you. And if I've missed some, please feel free to add it in the comments below. But basically though, they hate everything that we do if it isn't serving them. So for those who don't know me, my name is Deanna King and this channel is all talk narcissism and codependency. That being said, I am ready to chat. Let's dive right in. Narcissists, they don't usually hate their partners as people here. They resent anything in their partner that threatens the narcissist's sense of control, superiority, or emotional comfort. What they hate are qualities and moments that expose their inner fragility. So here are the most common things narcissists hate about their partners and why. Number one, your autonomy. They hate when you think independently. They hate when you have your own opinions or boundaries or your values. They hate when you make decisions without consulting them. And why? Because autonomy reminds them that you're not an extension of them, which threatens their need to control. The narcissist doesn't experience other people as separate, whole individuals with their own inner world. Instead, the other person exists to serve the narcissist's identity, regulation, and image. And here's what that means. You aren't you. You are a function. To a narcissist, a partner, a child, or a close person is often unconsciously assigned a role to reflect their greatness, to soothe their insecurity, to absorb their shame, to regulate their emotions, and to maintain their image. So if you're doing that function well, you're good. But if you stop, you're suddenly bad, ungrateful, or disloyal. That's why you see them switch so often, like suddenly. Your needs, they don't disappear. They just don't register as real to them. And your success, it belongs to them. Your failure is yours alone. As an extension, your achievements are absorbed into their identity. Look what we did. It's always we when it comes to success, right? But your struggles are disowned or criticized because they threaten their self-image. So for example, you get a promotion, suddenly it's, we worked so hard for this. If it wasn't for me supporting you, this would have never happened. This really reflects well on our family. They'll tell everyone that they pushed you. They'll take credit for advice that you didn't ask for, and then they'll insert themselves into their narrative publicly. But when you struggle, you burn out or hit a setback, the response becomes, you're too sensitive. You're not trying hard enough. Don't drag me down with your negativity. No we anymore. Only you failed. Your success inflates their self-image. Your struggle threatens it. Aren't they nice? Bottom line is, anything that makes them look good becomes ours. Anything that reveals vulnerability becomes yours. They merge with success and they split off from pain. That's why narcissists, they often compete with their own children or partners. They'll minimize or sabotage success sometimes, right? They become resentful when you outgrow them. Your growth feels like loss to them. Number two, the second thing that they hate about you are your emotional needs. They resent you when you need empathy, reassurance, or consistency. And somehow they make you feel shame for having them. And if that's you, don't buy into that. If you're human, you need empathy and reassurance from time to time. You are normal. And another emotional need we all have and certainly need in partnerships is accountability. It isn't rocket science. When a person that you apparently love harms you in any way, be it yelling, name calling, or anything that hurts you, you want to know that they care. And if they care, they'll apologize. And they're going to find a way to right the wrong. Accountability. And another emotional need that's incredibly important to a person is emotional presence. And the narcissist absolutely despises that. They don't give in to that. Emotional presence is the capacity to be with another person's inner experience in a way that is attuned, steady, and responsive without trying to fix, control, minimize, or make it about themselves. It's less about what someone says and more about how they stay. Emotional present people can stay engaged when emotions are uncomfortable. They can listen without interrupting or redirecting. They allow feelings without rushing to resolutions. They're going to notice emotional shifts and respond gently, and they'll hold space without collapsing or withdrawing. You feel felt, not managed. You might say, I had a really hard day. Emotional presence sounds like, that sounds exhausting. You want to talk about what happened? I'm here. You don't have to carry it alone. Quiet attention, eye contact, no phone, no defensiveness. The non-emotional presence responses are more like, and this is the narcissist here, at least you still have a job. You're too sensitive. That reminds me of the day when they make it all about them again, right? Or just think positive. Emotional presence is not about saying the right thing. It is about not leaving when someone real shows up. Number 3, the third thing that narcissists hate about you is your self-respect. They are counting on you to not have any. And if you do, they plan on making sure that all self-respect is removed over time, because once you have self-respect, it's game over for them. When you stop over-explaining yourself, you are acting with self-respect. When you say no without guilt, you're clearly stepping into your own self-respect. And when you remain calm instead of reactive, that dismantles them, regardless of whether they show it to you or not. Self-respect ruins their plans, and they'll hate you for it, because self-respect removes their leverage. Calm boundaries feel like rejection to them. They feel like attack because they experience you as part of themselves. Your no feels like abandonment. Your independence, it feels like betrayal. Your differing opinion, it feels like disrespect to them. This is why boundaries often trigger rage, guilt trips, silent treatment, and victim narratives. You're not setting a boundary to them. You're damaging their sense of self. Number 4, the next one they hate, and they really hate, is your growth and healing. They resent when you go to therapy or learn about narcissistic abuse or become emotionally stronger. And why? Because healing makes you harder to manipulate and less dependent on them. Healing also exposes them. We all know that the worst thing that you can do to a narcissist is expose them. The other thing in this also is their fear of abandonment. Narcissists, they don't fear abandonment the way secure or even anxious people do. They fear it because it feels like complete inner breakdown, literally inner disappearance, not loneliness, not heartbreak, but non-existence. It means to them that there's no more me here. I'm falling apart inside. There's nothing holding me together. Early on, they didn't develop a continuous internal sense of self or reliable emotional mirroring or safety in separation. So identity, it became externalized. Instead of I exist because I am, they learned I exist because I am seen, needed, admired, or feared. So when the external reference disappears, the internal anchor disappears too, because you're their internal anchor. People, aka narcissists, who have described this state report sensations like emptiness, free falling, panic without a clear cause, and intense shame. And this is why abandonment can trigger rage to reassert existence, control behaviors, hoovering, and desperation masked as entitlement. It's so hard for others to grasp because most people experience abandonment as grief, sadness, loneliness, and longing, but they still feel real while hurting. But for the narcissist, the distress isn't I miss you, it's closer to I am disappearing. Because when a narcissist fears abandonment, it isn't about losing you, it's about losing themselves. Let that sink in. But I do want to clarify, this does not excuse abuse. Understanding the fear explains the intensity, the volatility, and the panic reactions, but it does not justify harming others to avoid that state. These people, they don't have a stable internal self. A healthy person carries a continuous sense of I am, I exist even when alone. I have worth without reflection. My identity holds across time. Narcissists, they lack this cohesion. Instead, their sense of self is fragmented, it's shame-based, and it's dependent on, like I keep saying, external validation. Other people they're used as mirrors and regulators. So when a person leaves, the mirror disappears. You aren't just someone that they love, you're a stabilizer. To the narcissist, others provide emotional regulation, identity reinforcement, proof of superiority or desirability, and containment for shame. Narcissists, they don't fear being alone, they fear having no one to hold themselves together. I'm going to do an in-depth video on this because it goes way deeper than most realize. But for now, moving on. The fifth thing that the narcissist can't stand is your success or happiness without them. They hate when you thrive socially or professionally. When you laugh, when you relax or feel joy, that doesn't center them here. And why? Your happiness, it highlights their inner emptiness and it fuels envy. Your happiness, it reflects back to them that you don't need them for your happiness. It tells them that they aren't number one because they need to be first and foremost always. Even 1 hour of seeing you enjoying yourself that doesn't come from them bothers them to no end. And then adding an addendum here, they don't want you happy even in their presence either. You have to keep chasing their approval. That's what they want. You have to keep chasing the goalpost. It's not your happiness they want, it's your effort, your desperation. Because if that's the energy that you're giving off, it means to them that they're important. You're not dealing with normal here. And as far as success, you're looking at their needs for superiority. Again, here, they need to be above you. This man that I once knew told me that his wife was going to school for a certain degree, and he said that he had to bring her down because she would be above him if she went to school, if she finished and got her degree. He really felt that he had to put a stop to that, which he did. These people, they see their partners as competition. Moreover, there's a huge chance that the partner's success will bring attention to the victim from others. Praise, congratulation remarks. That's attention that they see as taken away from them if they're not involved in the supposedly success, if they don't take your success. Number 6 is when you see their patterns. They hate when you notice contradictions, point out repeated behaviors, stop accepting excuses. And why? Because pattern recognition dismantles gaslighting and it removes plausible deniability. You're exposing them. They can't manipulate you. You're calling them out on their crap. They hate that. You're supposed to be a little scared victim who asks how high when you're called to jump. That's the only question that you're allowed. Number 7, your emotional depth. They resent you when you feel deeply because they can't. They have a thick armor around them that doesn't let them go there. Remember, they are these impenetrable, all-powerful beings. So they can't and they won't speak honestly about pain or love. And they don't want you to either, because that would be intimacy. They resent that you would expect intimacy rather than performance from them because you're asking them to take down that armor, which means vulnerability, which is something that they fear and they avoid. Number 8, your authenticity. They hate when you're genuine instead of performative and stay true to yourself even under pressure. A partner's authenticity removes control. When a partner's authentic, they name their feelings without asking permission. They hold opinions without backing down. They remain themselves even when disapproved of. And this says to the narcissist, I can't control you. The mask starts to slip because control is what keeps it intact. And your real self, it interrupts the fantasy bond. The narcissist doesn't bond to you. They bond to a projection of who they want you to be. Authenticity breaks that fantasy by expressing needs because the narcissist wants their victims to be afraid to ask for anything. And when I say anything, that includes boundaries. They don't want them talking about how they feel and what bothers them because in the narcissist's mind, effort isn't something that they should be putting in. That's for the victim to do. They're above, remember? When you're true to yourself around the narcissist, that's when irritation, withdrawal, or devaluation often begins. If you look back at the beginning of the relationship, that's when it started, right? You trusted them. They'll start minimizing your feelings, intellectualize, blame, and or mock. Your consistency highlights their inconsistency. An authentic partner stays internally consistent. Your values, they don't shift. Your boundaries remain stable and your reactions make sense. The narcissist mask is inconsistent. Rules change, narrative shifts, and promises evaporate. Your steadiness quietly reveals the instability that they work hard to hide. So they often accuse you of being too much, rigid, or dramatic. That's projection. Number 9, your memory. They hate when you remember what they said or recall past promises or behavior. Why? Memory undermines rewriting history. And lastly, number 10, your eventual detachment. They hate when you emotionally withdraw, stop reacting, no longer chase closure. And why? Because indifference is the ultimate loss of control. At this point, you have won a long drawn out battle. Remember, with a narcissist, everything is about having control over you. And when you have one foot out the door, they start losing ground. Basically, what narcissists hates are often the healthiest parts of you. Your awareness, your boundaries, your kindness, and your resilience. These qualities, they don't damage the relationship. They reveal the truth of it. So I leave you with all of this to ponder on today, and we shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.